As the world shrinks into a global village, interaction between Muslim women and non-Muslim men has increased, especially in Western countries, due to immigration or because Muslim women visit Western countries for education or for other reasons. This is leading, occasionally, to marriages between Muslim women and non-Muslim men. A few Muslim writers have even permitted Muslim women to marry Jews and Christians. No classical jurists or even later scholars have ever granted such permission to Muslim women. To understand this issue, we have to first look at the permission granted to Muslim men to marry Jewish and Christian women. A basic rule in Islamic law with respect to marriage is that the bride or woman should not be a polytheist when the groom or man is a Muslim. This means that it is not permitted to a Muslim man to marry a polytheist woman, that is, a mushrika. It is permitted to him to marry a kitabiyya, that is, a woman from the people of the book. The people of the book include Jews, Christians, and Magians. The Sabians are included in this category according to Abu Hanifa, but Abu Yusuf disagrees. A verse of the Quran says, "Do not marry polytheistic women until they believe. A slave woman who believes is better than a polytheistic woman, even though she allures you. Nor marry your girls to polytheistic men until they believe. A man slave who believes is better than a polytheist, even though he allures you. These polytheists beckon you to the fire, but Allah beckons by His grace to the garden of bliss and forgiveness, and makes His signs clear to mankind, that they may celebrate His praise." This verse prohibits marriage with polytheists for Muslim men as well as Muslim women. Confining the argument to this verse, it is maintained that if men are allowed to marry women from the people of the book, women too should be allowed to marry men from the people of the book, there being no express prohibition for women marrying such men. Some even argue on the basis of a fundamental rule in Islamic law called the original rule of permissibility, which lays down that anything not specifically prohibited is permitted. Thus, Muslim women should be permitted to marry Jewish and Christian men because there is no express prohibition. The reasoning is flawed to the extent that the exception to this rule has not been read with this rule. The rule explicitly states that all things not expressly prohibited are permitted except for sexual intercourse. In other words, sexual intercourse can become legal only when specifically permitted in accordance with the Sharia. Sexual activity can be legalized only in the manner prescribed by Allah. The proof for this are the words of the Prophet, peace be upon him, heard during his last sermon. "Fear Allah in the matter of women. They are with you like your helpers or deputies, not exercising authority for their own persons. Verily, you have taken them by way of trust from Allah, legalizing physical access for sex to them by the lofty word of Allah." This shows clearly that all sexual activity stands prohibited unless it is allowed in the manner prescribed by the Sharia. In the case of men, such a permitting text is found in the Quran. A verse says, "This day are all things good and pure made lawful unto you. The food of the people of the book is lawful unto you, and yours is lawful unto them." Lawful unto you in marriage are not only chaste women who are believers, but chaste women among the people of the book, revealed before your time, when ye give them their due dowers, and desire chastity, not lewdness, nor secret intrigues. If anyone rejects faith, fruitless is his work, and in the hereafter he will be in the ranks of those who have lost all spiritual good. No such verse or even a hadith is found that gives permission to women of marrying Jews and Christians. Muslim jurists argue that the reason for not permitting women to marry polytheists is the fear that believing women will fall into disbelief. The reason is that the husband will compel her to follow his way of believing, and women in practice are known to follow their husbands in what they do and undertake. Thus, they will follow them in whatever they believe. It is this that is indicated in the verse by the words, "These polytheists beckon you to the fire, for they will invite believing women towards unbelief, and an invitation to unbelief is an invitation to the fire." Consequently, the marriage of a believing woman to an unbeliever will become a cause for falling into the commission of the prohibited. Therefore, it is prohibited. Although this cause has been mentioned for the polytheists, it has been generalized for all unbelievers. Accordingly, the rule of prohibition will be applied generally to all unbelievers, not the polytheists alone. The marriage of a Muslim woman to a Jew or a Christian is, therefore, prohibited. The basis for this is the fact that the Sharia has severed the authority of an unbeliever over a believer. The Hidayah, Thus, concludes, there is also no wilaya for the kafir or unbeliever over a Muslim, due to the words of the Exalted. And never will God grant to the unbelievers authority over the believers. It is for this reason that the testimony of an unbeliever regarding a believer is inadmissible, and they do not inherit from each other. In conclusion, we may state the rule for women as it was stated for men. The rule is, the groomer man must be a Muslim when the bride woman is a Muslim. The elaboration will be that a Muslim woman is not to marry a polytheist, nor is a Muslim woman to marry a kitabi. If such a contract is concluded, it is deemed to be irregular or fasid due to shubha. That is, the penalty of had is not imposed. Nevertheless, according to some jurists, the man is to be awarded a discretionary penalty or tarzir, for he violated the symbols of Islam as well as Muslim public law.